evening, everybody. Hello. Welcome to my kitchen and welcome to our Easy Essentials class on this lovely Thursday evening in lockdown. So what else could you be doing tonight other than watching maybe some rubbishy TV? You're here with us. You're going to hear some wonderful tips and see some great things about the Thermomix. I know most of you on here tonight are already Thermomix owners, so you've come along as a new owner to get some extra tips, or maybe you've had your Thermomix for a while, but you want to just get some extra tips as well, because although we call this Easy Essentials and we do cover a lot of basic things, the consultants presenting have a lot of experience, so you'll always go away with a nugget or two of gold that you didn't come here with. For those of you who are new to Thermomix and don't own a Thermomix at all, we are running one-on-one Zoom things for you to have a look at, a cooking experience if you want to do that. We also run private cooking experiences, but as we go tonight, we will explain a lot about what the Thermomix can do and what the benefits are. But if you've come along tonight with a vision in mind or something you're going, well, I just want to see if it can do X, tell us what that is, because we can talk about Thermomix all day long, but if we're not talking about the thing that's important to you, then there's really no point. So if there's something that you've got a burning question or something you're really interested to know or see, please tell us, because we'd love to share that with you. Our vision at Thermomix is for there to be a Thermomix at the heart of every kitchen. And so far that is doing quite well. And particularly in lockdown, I know this time last year, we all said we are so grateful that we have Thermomixes in our kitchen and so grateful to be a part of this business as well, because whether it be face-to-face or virtual, our business actually just kept going. So we all felt really grateful last year, and being part of this Thermomix community was good mental health space to be in as well. But anyway, I won't talk for too long now, but what I do want to let you know is that for those who are non-owners, we do have a purchase bundle that ends at 11 o'clock on Tuesday morning to access a second jug with your Thermomix. And it is one of those highly sought after offers where it has taken off really well. I know stocks are getting quite low as well, but for only $99, you can add a $375 bowl to your order. So if you want to know a little bit more about that, please reach out to your consultant. She can create an order link for you and have a Thermomix on your bench in the next 7 to 10 days. So as I said, there's lots of information throughout the night. We will pop recipes in the chat, but if you do have any questions, please pop them in there or take yourself off mute and shout out. This is not a formal situation. But what we will do initially is head over to see our first dish. Actually, girls, I don't know which one's presenter one and presenter.
It's me. Yes.
Head over to the gorgeous Mandy, who's going to show you something amazing.
Thanks, Michelle. Yeah, this is pretty much a last-minute lockdown idea, so we've all just pulled together, and Michelle came in actually at the very last minute. So anyway, welcome to my kitchen. And what I'm going to show you is the high heat function on our smart connected TM6. So the TM6, the other thing goes to 120 degrees. Sorry, I have to get down low near my screen. But the TM6 in guided cooking has access to 160 degrees. So I'm going to show you some onions using the high heat. But the other things that you can use it for are things like sugar stages, so making toffee, making caramel, making honeycomb, all those sorts of things. So I'm going to actually find this recipe. I have saved it already into my week. So I'm just going to click on here, go to my week, and here it is, sauteed onions TM6. Okay, so all I need to do, very simple, just start cooking. Take my lid off. Really good idea to always tear the scales here. You can see they are 1 gram increments, and because I took the lid off, they went to negative. If I hadn't looked at that, I'd be pouring an awful lot of oil in there till I got to 20. Anyway, popping some oil in. Oops. There you go. Oh, I've got something touching, I think. Then I have my onions. Now, really important with the high heat function that you have your onions in wedges. I don't know how it does it. However, the Thermomix knows. This knows if they're finely chopped. It doesn't like using the high heat. So you need to have them as wedges. Put that in there. And this is a new thing for the TM6. We have a splash guard. And the splash guard is always used with this high heat function. And it's always ask you to pop it on there, and then you have to press done. And in a minute, I'm going to turn it up. But before I turn it up, I just want to say to you, if you've cooked onions another way before in a previous model Thermomix, then you can still do that in this. But the high heat function allows for browning, it allows for caramelization, and is it's a really great adjunct in regards to flavor. And very quickly before I move on, you don't have to just use olive oil. This is ghee. I don't know if any of you have made this in your Thermomix. It is the best thing. It's absolutely delicious. You can actually eat it with a spoon. It's so nice. Last weekend, we did a little class with lemons, and this is actually a lemon and rosemary oil, and that's delicious as well. So you could use that, or of course, you could use good old coconut oil. So it doesn't matter what your oil is, you decide. But I'm going to turn this on to start because it's got to cook for 10 minutes. This little squiggle just means it's going up to that high heat. And I think now we're heading over to Jenny.
Yay, that's right. So 10 minutes, that's...
Jenny, coming to you.
Hang on, can you see me? I know you can hear me.
Hang on, I know, but where are you?
Oh, where am I?
Where are you?
I'm here.
You are.
Perfect. Welcome to Jenny Thorough Crazy Kitchen here in Hyatt. So he only gave me 10 minutes, so it means I have to speak really fast, right? Okay. All right. What I'm going to show you today is a transformation. So we're going to do a classic basic, and we're going to start with whipping cream. So very often we get that asked, can you whip cream in your Thermomix? Definitely, yes, you can, but you have to be careful. Otherwise, you will turn it into butter in absolutely no time. And so basically what we need is a clean bowl. And what we're going to do first is, well, I can follow a guided recipe here. We can do this. I brought up that I found the recipe on cookie dough, which is an absolute lifesaver. You will love cookie dough once you start using it, because whether you want a certain recipe or you just want to find something similar, you will basically find out of almost 70,000 recipes something that suits. All right, and it's so much easier guided. So I put that recipe into my weekly meal plan as in cook today. And the recipe is called butter, but we're going to use the beginning of that recipe to whip the cream. All right, so all I need is to click on start cooking and follow the instruction. We need to mute someone. And that means put the butterfly whisk into on top of the mixing bowl lid. So this is your butterfly whisk. Although it looks like a dragonfly, I always say that, but it's called the butterfly whisk. This is what they're talking about. You will see that has an imprint on here where it says maximum speed 4. Check yours, says that too. But always remember the 4 corners of my butterfly, not to go over speed 4, otherwise it's gonna fly away. And yes, we do sell spare parts. All right, so your butterfly whisk goes on top of the blades, either this way or that way. All right, it will automatically lock in as soon as the blades start turning. And when you want to take it off, you need to wiggle it a little bit. However, all I did was clicking on next, and now it asked me to put in 600 grams of pure cream. So usually I do have pure cream. Today I have thickened cream. What's the difference? The difference basically is thickened cream contains thickener. It's going to work with either. So really don't worry too much about it. It's just if you want to avoid any, well, additional things in your food, then I would go for the pure one. So thicken a cream, and I'm just 529, so I don't have the full 600 that the recipe wants, but that's absolutely fine. And I'm going to pop the lid on top as per instructions here. Clicking on next, and now on your machine, it has set the timer to 1 minute for me, and it asked me to go on speed 4. So the machine knows already there's a butterfly in it, not to go over speed 4. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to turn it on, and I'm going to start listening. And because you can, so what you want to listen for is a change of sound. So you will hear the liquid splashing around, but at some stage, and that depends on the age of your cream that you're using, the fresher the cream, the longer it's going to take until it turns into butter. All right. So the 1 minute for a very fresh cream might be not long enough. If the cream's a little bit older, it might be way too long. So now we want to find that spot, that sweet spot where it's still whipped cream and not butter yet. All right, watch me.
So as Thermomix consultants, we often say cook with your ears. And as a new owner, you go, what does that mean? But what Jenny's doing right now is exactly that. So she's listening for that change in sound. And when she hears that, she's going to check to see if that's ready. Now, I know some people that we talk to say, I'm not interested in making butter. But what you might be interested in is when you have half a thing of cream. Oh, I'm going to let Jenny go.
Sorry, I heard something. I heard you talking. That's all right. But I heard a change in sound. So from the liquid, okay, we're not quite there yet, but let me show you. So you can see this is what I've heard. It only takes a couple more seconds. So I've got 27 seconds to go. So here is where it's important to put your ears. That sounds better. So 23 seconds to go. All right, so that's what I would consider as whipped cream. All right, so that wasn't even a minute. That's how fast it is. Or maybe that's how old my cream already is. So if you wanted to have your cream, your whipped cream, you could take it out as is. You could sweeten it if you wanted to. But we wanted to make butter from here. That's why I'm going to keep going. And Michelle, you can chime in. Finish your sentence.
And that's a really good tip too, because sometimes people go, it's not working. Why is it not turning into whipped cream or turning into butter? And if your cream is super fresh, it could take 3 to 5 minutes. So it is one of those things that you do stay with the machine while it's doing that. Because once it turns into butter, there's no bringing it back to being whipped cream. But what I was saying before is sometimes people will say, oh no, I'm not interested in making mine, but I'm happy to buy it. But we can all be caught in a situation where we've got half a tub of cream that we're not going to use as cream and we don't want to throw out. So in the interest of no waste, you can just turn that into into butter, and then you might make a banana bread with it. And from that, you'll get the buttermilk and the butter, and you might do some baking with it, make a cake or make some bread or pop it in the freezer for next time. So there's always something you can do to avoid wasting any kind of leftovers in your fridge as well.
So I don't think you can hear that, but I can hear another change in sound right now, and it's becoming very noisy. So, and I can also see the machine is starting to rattle a little bit, and that's exactly what I wanted to see. This is what I want to achieve. And just wait a couple of seconds. So basically what I did, and also the machine asked me to, you can prolong the time by just adding a little bit more time to it. So whilst it was whipping, I just tapped on the timer here and just increased a little bit. So this is my very over whipped cream right now. And but I don't see at the moment that my milk solids have separated from the liquid. So I'm going to whip that a couple of seconds longer to show you what kind of result you want to see. So without setting a timer, I just go back to speed 4.
So I've popped the recipes in the chat for anyone who's wondering which recipes we're using tonight. So you can copy and paste them from there.
So that's good. So this was another 20 seconds that I've just added to that. And now I can literally hear, oh, where is my simmering basket gone? Here it is, because we're going to need that. So yes, beautiful. that's more what I wanted to see or show you. So you can now clearly see that we have separated our milk solids from the liquids. All right, a little liquid down there. So what I'm going to do now is, well, follow the recipe. It says take off the, what's that called? Butterfly whisk? Dragonfly? Take it out. So I just gave it a little wiggle to release. And following the recipe, it would say use the simmering basket and empty now your bowl into it. The way I prefer to do it, pop the simmering basket into the bowl and then use it as a strainer. So this way I get my buttermilk, and I'm going to keep that because we're going to make some buttermilk bread out of this. Okay, so that's my buttermilk, and with pure milk you will receive a little bit of better result. I promise you that. That's just because in my thickened cream tonight there is well, there are thickeners in it, and that's what you can see. All right, and you can squeeze that a little bit and also yeah, collect a little bit more of that buttermilk. So that's going in here. And in the next step, I'm going to wash my my fat, so my butter solids, because that is basically what makes your butter go off or go rancid, right? It's actually the buttermilk, not the fat. So the fat you can store for quite some time, a couple of weeks, or you can even freeze it if you wanted to. So now following the recipe, it says weigh in 500 grams of chilled water. I'm just weighing in that water, and that's purely for the washing. All right, doesn't have to be too precise. And now it says put the butter solids back into the bowl, because but I kept mine already in there, so I don't have to do that. Put the lid on top, and now we're going to wash that for 5 seconds. Okay, so this gives you now another, well, very liquidy well, soup, but we're not going to use or keep that diluted buttermilk. So this can go straight. I'm going to strain that and go straight into the drain. Doing the same thing with my, you can't see right now, but that's what I'm doing with my simmering basket. So now I have a beautiful butter here. And as I said, so you can also give that a second wash if you like, to make sure you get all the liquids out of this. And from here, you can now transfer that butter, for example, in one of our butter bells, all right, to keep your butter outside of the fridge. And it will create, so you have a little bit of water in here, and then you store that upside down in the butter bell. So you can keep it outside on the kitchen bench to have it spreadable, all right? Okay, so what I'm actually going to do later with my butter, I'm going to turn it into a herb and garlic butter. And the way I would do that, I will just add my garlic and my herbs that I have prepared over there, and put that in the same bowl, like with my butter, and just turn it onto speed 4 for a couple of seconds. It will mix it all up, absolutely no problem, but I'm going to chop that up later. All right, so that was that, and just following the recipe, it will tell you that. Alternatively, you will have a little video here on your screen. You could also, if you don't have a butter bell or don't yet, you don't have one yet, then you can just put it onto a Glad wrap and then roll it into a sausage form, and then cut it into slices and use as needed. All right, finish this one. And now I'm going to use my second bowl, which is quite handy to have, to continue with my recipe. So if you wanted to continue with the buttermilk bread from here, you would just take the butter out and use the unwashed bowl. Okay, that's not necessary that you do have a fresh bowl right now. Just for demonstration purposes, I'm going to use my second one today. All right, so let's continue. For the buttermilk bread, that's the basic recipe you will also find in your basic cookbook that came with the machine. And now we're going to use 180 grams of buttermilk. And how lucky are we that we actually have that right here. Okay. And 200 grams of water. So even if you haven't tried guided recipes yet, you already get the idea how easy it is, right? So now adding 2 teaspoons of dried instant yeast. I have pre-weighed that. I store my dried instant yeast, by the way, in my freezer to keep it fresher for longer. And this way I can keep it almost for a year in there and knowing that my yeast is always active. So what I'm doing here now is activating the yeast. So we have 3 minutes where we heat up the water, the buttermilk mixture and the yeast inside the bowls, just down speed 1. And that's basically it. So you'll see us using these guided recipes. I could do any guided recipe that I can find on Cookie Do without knowing what I'm doing. This is the beauty here, because it doesn't get any harder than this, all right? All you need to be able to is read and just follow the instructions. The Thermix does the rest for you. All right, so what we're doing next then is creating the dough. So out of our yeast dough here, we will add some baker's flour to it. I've got some herb salt, and today I am going to bake my bread in the bread tin that we also have back in the mix shop. Yay! So we're waiting for this one quite some time. And yeah, so you could use also make it like a focaccia style for kind of bread. I think if we're lucky, Michelle will show us her ready-made bread already, because mine's going to need to prove a little bit, so I'm going to finish that later. And yeah, what else? Do we have any questions in the chat, Michelle?
No, we don't. But what I would, you were talking about the buttermilk, and obviously Jenny had buttermilk because she had just made butter. But just a little cheat tip for buttermilk. If you don't have any on hand, you can put a bit of lemon juice or vinegar into your full cream milk, and it will curdle into buttermilk instantly. So my loaf, my pre-made loaf that I will show you, I've literally just pulled out of the oven, and that was what I did today. So it was 180 grams of buttermilk, and I put about 15 grams of lemon juice in the bottom of my bowl, and then topped it up to the 180 with the full cream milk. So that's just a little cheats tip in relation to having buttermilk on hand. But certainly if anyone's got any other questions or tips, we'd love to hear them as well.
Yeah, perfect. So basically sometimes, you know, we get recipes and it asks for bread improver. So basically the buttermilk here, the acidity of it is the bread improver. All right. So if you don't have bread improver and don't want to use that, that's absolutely fine. My hot tip here is either use some yogurt or make your own buttermilk, like a great tip there, Michelle, that you shared, or you can also just use a teaspoon of apple cider vinegar. It's just that acidity that helps with the proving. And here we go. Thermix is calling us. It's ready. And so in the meantime, it says grease your baker's tin. So I've done that. And now we are supposed to add in 500 grams of baker's flour. So what's the difference with baker's flour? Whoops. Oh, sorry, I just made a little mess. Hang on a second. How good is that? I do have my little Cobalt vacuum mini vac here. So if you do have any accidents like this in the kitchen, you can just easily soak them up. Anyway, coming back to my baker's flour. So a baker's flour is also sometimes called a strong flour, and that it means it's more glutinous. So it has more gluten than normal flour, and that helps with the baking, or basically the handling of the dough. So it adds more, it's more stretchable or workable, so to speak. All right, here we go. My fine clean kitchen here. How nice is that? Teaspoon of salt. And when you're adding the salt, just make sure that it doesn't touch the yeast inside the bowl. So I'm using a herb and garlic salt that I also made in my thermomix. There's great flavored salt recipes in there. I just like that because it adds some more extra flavor to my bread. And clicking on next, maybe put the lid back on. And now we are combining our liquid, which is on the bottom and it's warm, the activated yeast, with our flour. And it says go turn for 6 seconds, turn speed selected to speed 6. And you can see my lid still very clean. If I go full on speed 6 right now, what would happen is that my blades will throw up all the flour on the top, and then I have to clean my lid afterwards. So only at this stage, I'm going fast, so I'm going slowly to speed 6. Yes. All right. And this way, so it says keep the measuring cup inserted, and then, but I quickly want to show you my lid. It's clean. So we just combined that quickly, and now the kneading begins. So for 3 minutes, we're going to start kneading, and I think you didn't have to see that, or do we go back to?
We're going to come back to me, and we'll do some cookie dough while that. There we go. Hi everybody. So Jenny's bread's going to be kneading in the background. This is that set and forget stuff that we talk about. So for those of you who are not familiar, Cookie Dough is like our Netflix for recipes. So it's a subscription-based global recipe platform. There are now over 70,000 recipes across 20 different countries. So you are literally spoilt for choice. And as Jenny said before, whatever you're making, all you need to do is follow the instructions on the screen, and it is literally the language of time, temperature, speed, regardless of what Thermomix model you have, is the same. That beeping you can hear, hang on 2 seconds, is the oven telling me that my bread is ready to come out of the tin. So just thought I'd bring that over and show you, and I will pull that out of the tin in a second. So what I'm going to do is share my screen and show you our amazing recipe platform called Cookie Dough. Now, if you don't have Cookie Dough, you can access a 30-day free trial to check it out. Now, if you're someone who may have checked it out a few years ago, I'll be the first one to say when it first launched, it wasn't that inspiring. There was a couple of 100 recipes and they were in the book that we already had. So the concept was good, but it really didn't. But it is now a game changer. It is a life-changing. Whether you want to just plug in an ingredient, so you sort of go, I've got some pumpkin, what am I going to make? You can type in the word pumpkin, and then you're spoiled for choice whether you want to make a loaf, a breakfast bowl, a risotto, a soup, all sorts of different options there. So you can do that with any ingredient. You might have multiple ingredients. So you might put pumpkin and chicken and then see what comes up there. So you've got really lots of options. Now, at the moment, you can see for me, it's searching within Australia. But I can clear that to look at all sorts of different filters as well. So if I want to go into my filters, I might go, well, I'm particularly looking for a fish dish, for example. I do want it to contain capsicum. I can type different things in. If I'm dairy-free or gluten-free, I can add in those tags there. And then down the bottom here, I can search by rating. So we do have the ability to rate our recipes now, and also by language or country. So I often, and I must admit, they've recently added the ability to customize your cookie dough, and I'm a little bit behind the eight ball because I haven't actually done mine yet, but I do always search the UK and the US and Australia being in English, and there are other countries with English recipes as well, so it depends how you want to do it. But just looking at those 3 countries, there's nearly 8,000 recipes in English. So then you can be sorting through those and go, oh, that looks delicious. And with these 3 little dots here, I can add that to my week and go, well, do you know what? Let's have that for dinner next Friday night and save that in there. And the other thing I can do there is go, I'm actually going to add that to my shopping list as well, because I'm going to need that when I go shopping. So I can also have the choice of creating collections. So there's a whole lot going on there. But when you go into a recipe, you can have a flick through it. You can see the level of difficulty, the prep time, the total time. So that says 3 hours and 10 minutes. That'll be a marinating time to allow for there. So it says place in the fridge for 2 to 4 hours. So always have a look at that, because sometimes the cook time might be quick, but if it needs to marinate for a couple of hours, you just need to be a little bit more organized. And then down here, there's all sorts of hints and tips and tricks and nutritional information as well. So once I've added all that in, I can then go and have a look at my week. Now, this is the same. The beautiful thing about Cookie Dough is it looks the same on your TM6 as it does on your device. So it means you're not learning different formats for different devices. So on your TM6, when you go into it automatically, this is the view that you'll get, and it'll show you from today forward. So it'll have whatever you're cooking today and then things on from there. But on your TM6, there's also this little calendar icon. So you can change it to this view as well. And that means you can go, what was that dish we had last week that we really liked? And you can go back to last week and have a look at that and then go, oh, actually that Mexican one pot pasta was actually really nice. Let's move that again and have it again next, in 2 weeks' time, because that was really good. Now, the other thing I mentioned is I'd added everything to my shopping list. So this has been a huge game changer, and it started about 6 months ago. And it's been something where sometimes we tell people that you can order your ingredients and send it straight to Woolworths, and they think that we're kind of pulling their leg. And it's like, no, you really can. So this gives us our shopping list where we can go through here, tick off the things that we've actually got in our cupboard or pantry already, and then you're left with just the list of things that you need to buy. Down the bottom, you also have the ability to add other things. So toilet paper, tissues, cat food, cleaning products, whatever it might be. And once you've finalized your list, you can go in here and click order ingredients. And this is where the magic really happens, because it does go directly to Woolworths, and you can then choose to order them for delivery or click and collect. So it'll then show you all your ingredients here. And if there's something here where you go, well, I don't really want to get the White Wings brand, I'm going to have a look at what else there is. You can pop in here and have a look at, if you want the low FODMAP one, if you want to get a home brand. So you can have a flick through and choose whichever one you prefer. So you might go, I'm just going to get this budget one here. I don't need to spend $4, and then it'll swap it out for you. If you want to change your quantity, you can go, I'm going to get 2 of those because I plan on doing a bit of baking. And then once you've finalized your list, down the bottom here, it says add to Woolworths cart. And by clicking on that, it will take you straight through to your Woolworths cart to order those ingredients. Now, there's so many more things within Cookie Dough. So if you haven't looked at it before, I do urge you to jump on and grab that 30-day free trial and check it out. If you are a TM5 owner, please reach out to your consultant, because you can access a cook key. It's $189 in our mix shop. It gives you 6 months free subscription, and you can hold up to 5,000 recipes on there from Cookie Dough to use on your TM5 as well. So how's that, guys? Is there anything I didn't cover off there? Any questions?
Yeah, we had a question I saw out about translating recipes. So so try to answer that. I don't know if everyone's seen it in the chat.
Yeah, so with the translating recipes, you can actually, so I've actually got the Google Translate app on my phone. And so if I'm looking at a recipe in French or German or Italian or whatever it might be, you can still save it to your machine. It will read in the language it was written in. However, you can then pop in Google translate from Italian to English, and you hover the camera over the screen and it will translate it for you. So you'll be reading the English version of that recipe on your phone, even though it's a good way. Not only are you cooking dinner, you're learning another language as well. So yeah, no problem with the Google Translate. Certainly also, if you're looking at it on your computer in Google Chrome, it will translate it for you that way as well.
That's right. And basically, you don't need to translate the steps. So the machine will still do all the right settings for you. All you need to translate really are the ingredients. And I can only encourage you to try that. It's really fun.
My tip is try a cocktail. That was the first thing I did with Translate. I went, oh, cocktails. So do something fun.
That's right. All right, my dough has finished kneading, so I can quickly show you what I'm going to do now next. So first of all, I'm going to use this beautiful thermal mat, which is one of our host rewards, but you can also buy that in the mix shop, but it's just boring. You should host a cooking experience and get potentially it for free. If you want to know how you can do this, please ask your consultant. They are happy to explain you the ins and outs and the terms and conditions on how to potentially get one of those for free. However, so my dough, and it's quite a wet dough, has finished kneading. So I have this beautiful result here. So the way I'm going to handle it from here is move that thermoset around, and I'm just going to turn my bowl completely upside down. And I know I can access my plates by wiggling them a little bit here from the bottom. So this way, my dough is supposed to fall out. As I said, it's a little bit a wet dough, so this can it's a bit harder to handle. However, so I can wiggle my my plates. I can turn them from here, and I'm going to pop that back in later. And turn it on to speed 10 for just a couple of seconds to flick everything off the blades, and then I can scrape it out easily. So what I'm going to do next, I'm just doing this a little bit in a rush because I'm conscious of time. So in here on my mat, not only can I work from a clean surface here, I can also just wrap my dough into this mat and find a nice warm spot for it to proof. And because it's winter, and there's not a lot of warm spots in the house, I'm going to use my thermoserver for that. So in my thermoserver, there's actually hot water in it. And this way I create, well, like a warm space. And all I need to do is pop my dough wrapped in that mat in here. So now I've got the heat from underneath, but also there's no wind exposure to my dough. So it creates that warm, moist environment that our yeast bacteria need to let it grow. So that's going to sit there for about half an hour, and then I will knock it down and give it a second proof then inside my bread tin. All right, so I continue here in the background, and I think we are ready to switch over to Mandy. I think it was a little bit more than 10 minutes. Sorry.
Mandy,
it was probably double 10 minutes, Jenny, but you know, we're used to it.
It's just me.
All right, so I'm just going to show you the onions. You can see that, but they have browned beautifully. And what it does say on the recipe is that if you wanted to chop them now, you absolutely can. So if you've got little kids and you're trying to hide onions, I know my daughter at 29 still doesn't like onions this size, so I would have to chop them for her. But you cook them first and then you chop them up if you're using the high heat. So that's the onions. Pop them aside. And like Danny, I'll have a second bowl, which is amazing. And the next thing I'm going to show you, so I made this dough much earlier, and I had it wrapped up, and you can see it's come out of the wrapping because it's just grown so much. So I'm just going to pop this here. Actually, before I put it on there, just have a look at this mat. So this mat, this is one of the host rewards. That's my good one. Okay, my other one is really brown. But the great thing about the silicone mats is that you can reuse them. You're not using baking paper or anything like that. And these can go in the oven. So I heard Michelle say that she had a loaf, and I'm just going to show you how you can just put this. You can see all the bubbles in that dough. So I'm just going to pull it off the mat. It is, as Jenny said, is a very sticky dough, this one. So I did try and put a little bit of flour on the mat before I put it on, but it is a little bit sticky. You can see all those beautiful bubbles. And this is the other poster board mat that you can get if you're into bread making, just to fold your dough up and help it prove. All right, so I've got my dough here, and Janny was talking before about, you can turn it into a focaccia. So all I would do is literally push this out. You can freeform, you can roll, but you'd need a little bit of flour or something on there just to stop it from being sticky. But I can just literally put that out as a freeform pizza. I'm not going to put my onions on top because I've just done this for you guys. I'm gluten-free, so I won't be eating it. I'll be putting it in the freezer and giving it to my daughter next time I see her. But what you can do, you can put the onions on there, you can put some cheese, you can put whatever else you want on there. So, and be really creative. We've seen some incredible designs that people have made on these, but it's really simple. That's as hard as it gets. Just pushing that out and doing what you want. Okay, I'm going to pop
bread art. Bread art.
Yeah, bread art. That's right. Yes. Yeah. All right. I'm just going to pop that aside. Oh, and just quickly to show you, also in the mix shop we have these bread proving baskets. And so you can use these to pop your bread in and prove in there instead of in the mat if you want. All right. Okay. So the next thing we are going to do is we are going to, oh, hang on, no, we're going to see Michelle's finished loaf. Is it ready or not?
Yeah, it is. It is. It's right here. So I did do it as a loaf, and what I actually did, you can kind of see, I'm going to pick it up because it's cooled down enough now. See how it's kind of got those kind of, grooves. So
sections.
What I did was divide it into, I'm just going to pop it here, into sort of 3 big rolls and popped it in the tin like that. My other little tip is that you can pop some oil around the inside of the tin, and then you'll get seeds all the way around. So I just thought, now, if you want your bread to stay fresher for longer, the tip is to actually let it cool down completely before you cut it. But this smells so great, and I know that my kids are going to want to come in and have a slice of warm bread and butter. So I don't mind cutting it now, because who doesn't love warm, fresh bread lathered with butter? So I just wanted to show you, the beautiful texture of that. You can see it's still steaming actually, but it's a really, really simple, delicious bread. So I do highly recommend it. And whether you do it focaccia style or loaf style, whatever you do. But yeah, go onto Instagram and search bread art. You'll see some amazing things. You don't want to eat them. They look so pretty. But yeah, that's my loaf.
That's amazing, Michelle. Really pretty.
Yeah, it's smells so good actually too. It's really, the last time we did this class, girls, luckily I had 2 friends over as well, because my 2 daughters, myself and my 2 friends sat here and we ate almost the whole loaf. So
sounds dangerous.
With a tub of butter, we were just lashings of butter and fresh buttermilk bread. Amazing. So yeah, highly recommend it.
Cool.
Did I see a question just then about the?
Yes, there were a couple actually.
All right, while you're talking, I'll just have a look at those. Oh, the name of the recipe is called Buttermilk Bread. I did put the link a little bit further up, I think, but yeah, I'll pop it back in. So if you scroll up a little bit, I'll pop it in again for you, Rob.
All right. So I think Sandy's answered a couple of questions there as well, which is fantastic. Thank you. All right. So the next thing I'm going to make is a cooked egg mayo. And, there's various mayonnaise recipes that you can make in the Thermomix, but this one is, I was never really into making mayonnaise before. However, this one is fantastic and I do use it a lot. So I'm going to find it. So if you haven't seen Cookie Doo sort of working, you can just hit on this little search up here. And it brings up Cookie Doo on the screen of the Thermomix. It has automatically saved my filters. I have 5 filters in here, the same ones that Michelle has chosen to have. And all I need to do is go in here and go cooked. Make sure what it's called. Cooked. Is it cooked egg mayonnaise or cooked mayonnaise?
Just cooked mayonnaise, Mandy.
Cooked mayonnaise. There we go. All right, and here we go. There it is. So just start cooking. It's as easy as that. You literally go straight in, Smart Connected Kitchen, we're right there. All right, now, great tip I learned from another consultant is what it's asking me to do, and I have actually weighed this out already, it's asking me to put a jug on top of the mixing bowl lid, and then it's going to ask me to weigh in 300 grams of grapeseed oil. So the great tip is, don't use a jug, use a jar that you're going to store it in. So then that saves you some washing up.
I've been looking for this for 2 days.
That's in the destroyed pile. Oh.
All right. Now, the reason we use, it suggests grapeseed oil is because it doesn't over flavor the mayonnaise. It doesn't make it a strong mayonnaise. It's a very mild, very palatable mayonnaise. Anyway, pretend that, well, I've got my oil ready there. The next thing I have to do is set it aside. And I'm going to put 1 teaspoon of sea salt. Here. 1 teaspoon of salt in. And 30 grams of white vinegar. It's just a really ordinary white vinegar. And put my lid on. And it's going to cook for 3 minutes. So time, it's just this is the cooked part of the mayo, and then we're going to add egg yolks and or eggs and things afterwards. But when it comes to making a mayonnaise, there's all sorts of variations you can do. So this is a very basic mayonnaise. I know last time when we did this class, well, when I did it with Janny and Michelle, Janny was doing the mayonnaise and she added some garlic. So you can absolutely put garlic in it. You can flavour it however you like. So you make the mayonnaise and you just add those. Well, actually, if you're doing the garlic, you'd pop the garlic in early and you would chop it up. But if you're adding other flavours, so I'm making a curried coleslaw tonight instead of the basic coleslaw, just because I feel like making something a little bit different. So I will be using a bit of curry powder in there. But the curry powder has also been made in the Thermomix. It's actually quicker for me to get the items out of my cupboard and whip up a curry paste or a curry powder than it is for me to walk to the shops or go to the shops and buy one. And of course, there's no additives and preservatives. So it's really simple and it's a really easy thing to do. So I don't know about you guys, if you're new to Thermomix, before I had one, I would never have thought about making curry powder. I would never have thought about making a curry paste, none of those sorts of things. But now I would never do it any other way. So that means we're having no additives and preservatives. And it's great. It's a great way to eat healthily, having cooking things from scratch.
Absolutely. Can I just answer a question that was asked, Mandy?
Yes, go for it.
Someone asked about the subscription to Cookie Do. So you do get 6 months free with either your cook key for TM5 or when you purchase TM6. When your subscription runs out, you will still have access to Cookie Do and the cookbook that comes with it and the shopping list function, but it is a subscription base. So it'd be a bit like if your Netflix subscription ran out, you wouldn't have access to Netflix. So it's the same concept, but it is only $49 per year. So for less than $1 a day, you have access to over 70,000 recipes. So if you think about all the benefits of that in your life, it's actually definitely well worth doing. But if you choose to not do that, you can obviously still use the modes on your TM6 and still cook with your Thermomix manually as well.
Actually $1 a week. Sorry.
What did I say?
You did say $1 a day. Well,
I'm sorry, a week. Sorry, a week.
Use it every day.
Okay, thank you. $1 a week, $49.52. They all knew what I meant.
I know. I just thought, okay, well, you're using it every day, so it's not that
less than $1 a week. So
it's the cheapest subscription out. Really is. Yeah. And the great thing about Cookie Do is they keep adding more recipes. So we've had a little heads up that we're going to, there's a new collection coming out in the middle of the month, and that sounds really exciting. So there's always new recipes being added. Okay, so let's go back to the egg mayo. All right, so that was just the vinegar and the salt. In a small bowl, crack 2 eggs and set aside. I've done that. Then it says, for 30 seconds, it says, turn the speed selector to speed 3, meanwhile following the next step. So it's a good thing to always check that out. Add the reserved eggs. Oh, sorry. I could have turned it on first. I'll turn it on to speed 3, and then it's going to tell me I've got to add the eggs through the mixing bowl lid. So that's just cooking those eggs. So if you've got some, you know, someone who's pregnant, it's a really good mayonnaise to use.
It's actually just got a really beautiful flavour. Of all the different mayos that I've made from Cookie Doo, that is absolutely my favourite one.
Totally agree.
And it works every time.
It does.
It also has a longer fridge life because it is cooked. So I've had that in the fridge for up to about 2 weeks as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so it's done that, and I've just got to click next. And then it says pop the lid back in, which I've done. And the next thing I'm going to do is actually drizzle the oil through. This is going to emulsify the mayonnaise. Now this is because in our lid here, there's always a little gap here. It's a bit hard to show you, but there's always, it's never fully sealed there. So I can drizzle the oil into here, and it's going to slowly drop down into here, and it will emulsify. You can also do this with smoothies and things as well. So put most of your smoothie ingredients in, a little bit of the liquid, and then drizzle the rest of the liquid in your lid, and that will emulsify your smoothie so it doesn't separate. All right, so I'm going to go up to speed 6.
So there's been a reference tonight to different accessories that we've used that are available on the Mix Shop or as host rewards. So things like our bread mats and thermo servers are available as host rewards. And what that means is that you and 2 friends get together and either cook with us virtually or face-to-face, depending on what the COVID rules are at the time. And it makes you eligible for host rewards to get these things at a discounted price. However, if one of your friends chooses to purchase, then you will access those things for free. So there's a lot of great options there. And then other things, we've got a really great range of products on what we call our Mix Shop. So on the Thermomix website, thermomix.com.au, jump on and have a look at the Mix Shop. And we've got everything from baking trays to bread tins to the thermo mats that the girls showed before, to lots of environmentally friendly things. So one of the things that I've got is my reusable bread bag, which when I make a loaf of bread, I store it in the bread bag. So the Buttermilk that Janie had earlier. And when you do go on and have a look at those and place an order, be sure to pop your consultant's name in, so then she'll get notified of what you're purchasing and she can support you with different recipe ideas with that as well.
A little tip too, the sound will stop if you just touch the screen of your Thermomix. All right. Okay, next. There we go. How amazing is that? So another little tip with this. So as I said, I've used the jar that I measured into the jar that I'm going to put it into. And little tip for putting it in without making too much of a mess. Just pop your lid on upside down there, and then you can scrape your mayo in. Look at that. It's just incredible. And when you are scraping out your bowl, always push the contents down to the bottom first, and then go in a clockwise direction, because when you do that, your spatula is hitting the rounded side of the blades, not the sharp side of the blades, and you're less likely to put a little nick in your spatula. So always go in a clockwise direction. All right. Now, I'm not going to clean all of that out. Sorry, I'm just going to read it. Because I'm going to make the coleslaw. I need mayonnaise for coleslaw. I'm also going to clean the lid here. Put that in. So there's also beautiful aiolis and things that you can make as well. Similar sort of style to this. There was one, a lemon and caper aioli that I made the other day. All right. So there's our mayo. No more store-bought mayo. All right. Now I'm going to go into my week here, and I'm going to find this coleslaw. So the coleslaw that we're really meant to do, as Janie said earlier today, before we started, we're going rogue, all right? But the coleslaw we're meant to do is a very basic coleslaw. You chuck everything in and just chop it. This is slightly more complicated, but it's we've got to eat it, and I just thought we'll do something a little bit different. So it is the curried coleslaw. And I have 10 grams of parsley. which is going in. I'm popping the lid on. But you'll love it when you don't have to wash your bowl. 4 seconds, speed 10. Seconds isn't very long, is it? Okay, so I'm just going to scrape that down. You'll find there are a couple of bigger bits. That's because the bowl is moist. If it was dry, it would have chopped up a lot further, but that really doesn't bother me. It's all going down the same place. Scrape down the sides. 140 grams of carrots. So I've just got some carrot here. That's going in. 60 grams of spring onions. I found these most enormous spring onions. That's one spring onion. Amazing. 120 grams of raisins. Popping those in. And 120 grams of raw unsalted peanuts. Popping the lid on. And then it's 3 seconds, speed 5. And then it's asking you to transfer to the serving bowl, and looks pretty damn good already. Got some there. I'm going to pop it into the thermo server that I have just over here. Just pop that in. Thermo servers are great because they keep your food warm for up to 2 hours, or cold, and they're just great for serving. You know, you have people around for dinner, you can make a curry or something in advance and you can pop it in your thermo server. It looks really good on the table. All right, 1 teaspoon of curry powder. Here we go. Thermomix curry powder. Amazing. 1 teaspoon of that going in. 550 grams of white cabbage. So I've just got all this cabbage going in. Oh, I think I thought it was meant to be 500 grams. Anyway, that's all right. 240 grams of mayonnaise. Well, it's a little bit in there, so I won't go quite the 240, but I'm just going to put some of our beautiful mayo in there. And it's asking me to pop the spatula through the lid here. And that's the reason that your spatula has this lip here, so that, or collar, so that you can put it through the hole in the lid of the bowl, and you can push things around. So if it's a full bowl, which this is with all that cabbage, then you can absolutely do this, and the blades are not going to chop the spatula. Was a lot of cabbage to chop up, wasn't it? Anyway, it's done an awesome job, and I will just bring this forwards and pop it in here. It makes a massive amount too. This is going to be lunch for, I don't know, probably the next week.
I haven't made that one, Mandy, but it looks delicious.
I know. Well, there's quite a few. There's a Texas coleslaw. I know that there's quite a few on Cookie Do, and sometimes it's nice to make something just a little bit different instead of having the same one all the time. So, and it fits perfectly in this thermo server too.
And I think the beauty of something like a coleslaw is that it's such, you know, you can be really creative. So you can go, well, I haven't got this, but I've got, you know, I haven't got a carrot, but I've got a capsicum, or, you know, whatever
Absolutely.
you want to have, and you just can play with it, and it's going to work every time.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Fantastic. So there you go. Super easy. No bowl washing, just went straight from the mayo into the coleslaw.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Mandy. That's
Pleasure.
given us all some good hints and tips tonight. Thank you, Jenny. You don't have anything else to show us, or?
Well, I can show you how my herb and garlic butter looks like.
Oh, we would like to see Jenny's herb and garlic butter.
Here we go. I don't know if you can see me or if you can just hear me.
Hang on, we'll just spotlight to you for a second.
That's all right. Okay, here we go. So that's just how that looks like. And what you can hear in the background is I'm pre-cleaning or use the pre-clean function of the TM6, which is actually already a really deep clean. So it helps me, cooking faster, or in this case, finish my cooking day. And I think that's all I needed to show. I wanted to show from today. So
Thanks, Jenny. Well, thank you for joining us tonight, everybody. So where to from here? We will all just hang around for a few minutes now in case anyone wants to have a chat with us or have got any questions. But from here, if you do not own a Thermomix and you would like to get one on your bench, please reach out to your consultant and she will create an order link for you. She or he will create an order link for you and get that happening. If you've watched us tonight and gone, oh, I wish I knew as much about cooking and Thermomix as them, come and join the team, because 8 years ago, I didn't know this much. So we kind of say, if you don't own a Thermomix, you can earn one and learn about it at the same time. If you already own a TM6, you've already got your business set up and your bench ready to go. All you need is to come along, grab a business kit and join the team. And it's lots of good fun, as you've seen tonight. Lots of banter, lots of camaraderie, and lots of sharing. If you would just like to get some information more specific to you, please host your own cooking experience. And again, reach out to your consultant and organise that for you and a couple of friends. At the moment, we're doing virtual ones, but when we can come into homes again, we will do that. And we are also running regular classes. So jump onto our Bayside Thermomix community page, because we do post links for upcoming virtual classes there as well. So thank you for joining us. As I said, we will hang on for a few minutes to see if anyone's got any questions, but otherwise that completes our Easy Essentials class for this evening. Thanks, everybody. Happy cooking.
Thanks, Michelle.
thanks, Michelle. Bye.
You're welcome.